Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that.
You all don't remember the Georgia Southern game, do you?
You know, I hope there's Bigfoot. I don't think there is.
Like rat poison. All right, so
It's Division I football! It ain't intramurals!
That is right. This is Division I football. This is the Hoppy Huddle podcast. My name is Jake. That's Ed. We are still talking college football. This is not an academic podcast, despite what some of our comment sections may lead you to believe. When I refer to Boston College, I am not referring to the very prestigious academic institution in Boston.
we're talking about their sorry.
We are
their
talking
sorry
about their
excuse for a football
sorry
team.
football team and their inability to sell dang tickets. And
Yeah, show up for more than
Yeah.
one of the red bandana game. How about go to all the games, fans?
Yeah.
Then you can comment in our fan section. Otherwise,
yeah, maybe
Never
try
mind.
some different color bandanas. I don't know, whatever works for
yes,
you.
whatever. So
Anyway, today we are still talking college football. We're getting into the spring here. Summer's fast approaching. And you know what that means? That fall is fast approaching because college football season is going to be
Football
here
is
sooner
coming.
than you know it. Football's coming. We've got recruiting battles taking place as the new what's now, the new recruiting season is starting to heat up as we get into the summer. But today, we're going to take a look back into the past of yore, and we are going to discuss what is going to be one of the most hotly debated topics for all time, and that is, who is the greatest college football team of all time?
Jake, you're not old enough to remember this, but back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, sports talk radio, before there were podcasts, whenever there was a dull moment, like the day after the Major League Baseball All-Star break, whenever there wasn't a lot going on, there'd be two topics that they would always discuss. One, Shapiro's be in the Hall of Fame, because he was banned for gambling. They'd always talk about that. That would light up the phone lines.
Well,
Then
what
a
do we
little
think
bit-
of Sorsby?
Yeah,
we'll get to him.
And then the other topic was MJ or LeBron, who's better? And that would light up the phone lines.
Yeah, I actually got asked that in a job interview, MJ or LeBron, about 2 weeks ago. So that topic is still alive and well.
But we're going to ask the ultimate college football. Hey, this is the off season. Everything's kind of a little slow. We're going to ask the ultimate college football question. That's the equivalent of that.
Yes.
2001 Miami Hurricanes versus
Or
2019
2019 LSU Tigers. It's
Oh,
the
we're gonna have some
question
fun with this one.
that will never be answered because these two teams unfortunately cannot play each other. I
can you
think it's like
imagine?
matter and antimatter. If you combine both those two teams on the field, I think it would just result in the annihilation of planet Earth. It'd be like
what
a
a
black
matchup
hole
that
would
would be.
form.
Man,
But
you do that.
We're going to talk about that today. We're also going to talk about Brendan Sorsby and his alleged gambling issues, including betting on his own team, which is the real scandal because, in my opinion, the whole gambling thing.
So yeah, let's get into that
Let's
before we
talk
get into
about
the
that
fun.
first before we get to the debate.
Hey, and by the way, before we get into that, real quickly, I know Ross Dellinger had this report recently within the hour. A couple other people did too.
Is this the College Football Coaches Association?
Yeah, the College Football Association basically wanting to do away with
Headquartered in Waco,
title.
Texas.
Yes, wanting to do away with college title games, the conference title games, which we know is coming.
Yeah. We think it's coming. I think that this is another one of those things that makes the rounds every single year. The AFCA meets, they pass a bunch of proposals, and then nothing happens because every single year, the American Football Coaches Association comes together and they meet and they go, this would be good. And they pass some rules and they recommend things to the NCAA and to the conferences. And it's always some boofah recommendation that has no bearance on reality. It never happens. The only things that really ever get considered from them are like slight rule changes to clock management and that kind of thing. I don't think they have any real power. The power is made by the people in the suits. They do not have any control of what's going to happen in college football. I'm glad that they're sharing their opinion and that they think so. And honestly, if I had it my way, the Football Coaches Association would have more power in the sport. But the power in the sport is concentrated in the suits and the people behind the suits with the money.
You're right.
And
However,
the coaches' opinions just aren't going to matter.
However, I think there's some. You're right. This doesn't carry any teeth, but I think the thought process is if they go to an expanded playoff, these conference title game weekends are going to be not about conference titles. They're going to be about play-ins to this playoff. You wait and see. I'm telling you, it's coming.
So maybe, but here's the thing with that is like the conference completely controls the revenue that they generate from conference title week.
Yes.
They have to share the revenue that they generate from the college football playoff. Why would you trade 100% control your revenue for split revenue that you have to share with other people?
No. They're going to create. You're going to get. I wouldn't be surprised to see if they get some automatic bids, and then the conference determines these bids based on that weekend. So they'll still control that revenue. They're just going to dole out some of those, tiers of spots based on that weekend. They're not giving up that revenue. They're just going to recalibrate it because, I mean, let's go back in some situations, like particularly like last year's Big Ten. I'm not picking on Indiana, Ohio State. Both those teams were in the playoffs. Did it really matter a whole lot whether Indiana or Ohio State won? It didn't really matter a whole lot.
It's almost like we shouldn't have expanded the playoffs.
I know, but that's already out. That's gone. I'm just telling you, wait. I think you're going to see something down the road. Anyway,
Maybe you're right.
All right, let's get to the Sorsby thing. Let's talk. We got to break this down. I mean, we don't need to get. He placed an obscene amount of bet. Allegedly, placed an obscene amount of bets.
We said allegedly. Everything on this show is opinion and alleged. So then let's just talk about it.
So while he was at Indiana, allegedly, while he was at Cincinnati, allegedly. So if he did this, let's talk about the impact. First of all, to him, let's talk about the impact potentially to Texas Tech. Let's talk about the greater impact to the game. First, to him, if this is true, there's no way he can play, right?
He's probably done. The only way that I could see him playing is if it's not true that he bet on his own team. It is true that he bet a lot elsewhere.
So do you think it's a problem? And this is an interesting debate with all the money that college football and all these sports have with the betting organizations. Do you think it's a problem if he bet on, let's say, UCLA, USC, and he's not playing for those teams?
I mean,
you're a younger guy than me. So
I'm a younger guy, but I'm an old head. I think we know on this show who the old head is and who the young buck is.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the BCS, and I want to go back to, whatever. Yeah. So my opinion is I think none of them should be gambling on this stuff. This is ridiculous. However, I do think that in the inescapable world of online gambling, tied in with the NCAA, all the money that they generate from it, it's kind of ridiculous to ask the players not to participate in that culture or that whatsoever. You run into gray area where it's like in a sport that you are playing, you can have inside information from your connections, from your coaches that recruited you, from your friends that went to high school with you on other teams. I think the cutoff should be betting on the sport that you play.
Wow. You and I normally you're usually the conservative one. I'm the more progressive one, but you and I are probably in alignment on this one. I think it's dumb that a football player can't participate in a March Madness pool
or bet on baseball.
I think that's the stupidest thing. I think it's stupid that in Virginia, you can't bet on Virginia Tech. Like, I have more information about that than I do about TCU Baylor, like in today's modern world of technology. Those are stupid, antiquated rules. I do agree with you that if you're playing football, you should not be able to bet on that sport. And I do think that if you bet on that sport, whether it's on your team or any team, I think you're done. I just think it's a simple rule. Yeah. I think you should be allowed, because there's too much potential influence that could happen. You have to have a hard line stance. And I know he hired Jeffrey Kessler, the famous attorney, and they're going to battle this, but I honestly hope they don't win if this is alleged to be the case. We don't know exactly the facts. That's why we want to be very careful here.
Now that we've kind of described what is publicly known, you want to hear my conspiracy theory?
Oh, I love conspiracy theories.
Okay, so here's my conspiracy theory. My theory is, well, we know Cincinnati signed Brendan Sorsby to a 2-year deal.
Yes.
He only got 1 year out of that deal before he went to Texas Tech.
You think Texas Tech turned him in?
No, I think Cincinnati turned him.
I mean, Cincinnati turned him in.
I
yeah.
think Cincinnati knew about it while he was at Cincinnati.
Oh,
Didn't do anything. He's
allegedly.
our quarterback. He
Yeah.
is our quarterback. We're going to support. We can do whatever he wants because schools never look the other way for their star players. That never happens, right? And then I think he went to Texas Tech, and they were like, "Okay, this sucks, but we got outbid." I think now they're still fighting about this. I think the Texas Tech did not buy out Brendan Sorsby's
that is
contract, second year of the contract.
They're fighting about that.
They're fighting about this. And I think Cincinnati said, okay, you're not going to pay us for the second year that we signed him to. We have this information. We're putting it out there. And here's why. Here's why the evidence lines up. Because this did not get leaked to the press. And then Sorsby put out an apology. Sorsby put this out himself that I'm going into rehab for gambling help. Yes. And I think he did that because he got a threat from Cincinnati saying, if you don't pay us, we are going to release this information.
You think he might have gotten a threat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. I think he got this threat from Cincinnati saying, if you don't pay us, we are going to release the information about you gambling. His lawyer said, we think we can win on not having you pay them. He said, okay, I'm not paying you. And then put out the statement before Cincinnati could release it. And then the sources started buzzing with all the information. That is the story that plays out in my head. And basically nobody comes out of this looking good. Cincinnati doesn't look good because they look vindictive. Brendan Sorsby doesn't look good because of all the ethical violations. Texas Tech doesn't look good because they probably had to know about this, right?
No, you know what? All right, we're going to get to.
Or they could have paid Cincinnati,
Yeah. So let's stay on Sorsby for a second. I don't think if he did all this, I think the going to gambling addiction and evidently allegedly placed a lot of bets.
I think didn't he bet on every pitch of one game?
I don't know. So I think he's headed to the supplemental draft is what I think. June 30th. He has until June 30th for the NFL to be in the supplemental draft.
So
I think this is all setting him up to go to the NFL supplemental draft.
What's the supplemental draft?
Oh, come on. The supplemental draft is
Am I just out of the loop here?
Yes, you don't know your NFL rules enough.
So I don't know NFL, I do.
The NFL has a supplemental draft every year for situations for people that did not declare or weren't eligible for the normal draft, but are then eligible or have to become or somehow eligible after that for situations. Bernie Kosar, some of the famous players, Bernie Kosar, I believe, was drafted in a supplemental draft.
Oh, okay.
There are players that have been drafted in a supplemental draft before. This would be a case where you're suspended, you're no longer, so you basically you're not penalized for the whole year. Now, how the NFL treats this would be fascinating because what they would do, who knows?
They have more money with the gambling companies than college football.
And the hypocrisy and why we would pick that, again, the issue of someone betting on their own team, my sense is somebody would draft him and there might be some penalties, but I think this is all set up to try to, I think there's some trying saving face at this point to try to get to the supplemental draft. I think that's where this is headed.
Okay.
But let's go back. So Cincinnati, we don't really know that. Texas Tech, I don't know that they knew anything, Jake, because last good player is Jalen Thompson, a safety. Yeah, they have that. Every year there isn't a supplemental draft. I don't know that every single year, but I think number of years there is. And basically the way supplemental draft works, I don't want to get too geeky here, but every team has you go through a round and you may not pick anybody because if you use a supplemental pick, I believe you lose that pick the next year in that first round. So sometimes somebody will go
in the first round pick.
Well, yeah, or nobody will pick in the first round. Nobody will pick in the second round. Nobody will pick in the third round. And then somebody will take a player in the fourth round. You lose your fourth round pick next year.
Oh, okay.
So
that's it. Dude, I didn't know that. This is very fascinating to me.
Yeah, go put that through AI.
I don't follow the NFL enough to.
That's the way it used to be. So Texas Tech, I think the way the portal works, he's playing a game. Portal opens up. Texas Tech finishes their season. I don't know if they have time to do their due diligence on things like this.
They don't have the portals closed. There's no more portal.
No. When they signed Sorsby originally, I don't think they knew this.
You think they did? You didn't? Yeah. I mean, That's not
There's
enough
not a-
time. You're right. Maybe they didn't know.
I mean, this isn't like an NFL draft. These college teams have got to jump on these players quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
is
an
an email.
interesting
Reed, you're
thought.
right. Supplemental draft is just an email. They don't get together. They just message the league. So anyway, I don't feel bad for Texas Tech in some extent because you can't put all your eggs in one basket. I
The
think Will
backups
Gannon-
tore his ACL though. He's not gonna be back till like at least October, right?
Well, I understand that's the way it goes. I mean, you got to have
Yeah.
another quarterback.
Yeah.
They got a kid from
They got the true freshman.
no, but they also picked up another guy. I forget, was he from a G5 school transfer?
I forget his name, but I know what you're talking about.
I mean, this is what happens. I mean, I feel sorry that it was gambling that took him down. But listen, it could have been an ACL that took down a quarterback. These things happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks,
Yeah,
but this is life.
You're right. You probably can't blame Texas Tech here. They're not really. They didn't do anything that anybody else wouldn't have done. Everybody wanted Sorsby in the portal, and they got him, but he came with that attached, and they didn't know at the time. And it's unfortunate because I think that he would have made a really compelling and nationally competitive Texas Tech team with him at quarterback.
I think that team was definitely a playoff team, especially with their softer schedule. And I think they would have been, very competitive for playoff victories and, championship caliber.
Yeah.
And you got to remember, Sorsby was wanted by more teams. I bet you Miami was in play at some point.
No, they were. There were a lot of teams that wanted him.
So, this is the way it goes.
Indiana wanted him.
Yeah. And so those things move fast. I guarantee you they probably didn't have. I'd be shocked if it came out that they knew about the gambling issue.
Yeah. I'm just interested to see how hard does Texas Tech fight. I know Sorsby's going to fight this. How hard does Texas Tech actually put up a fight on this? Do they try and back him, or do they like all right, whatever? We save $4 million for next year, right? Like
I think this is the one issue you can't do, but so much. I mean, it's the integrity of the sport. Now I'm sounding like the old head. So
well, and it is kind of different than like some of the other violations where, it's like Michigan or some recruiting violations where the rules are kind of ticky tacky and like. You bet on your own sport. That's a pretty hard line to me. Like,
I think, there's I think he's got to go.
But I do think it is ridiculous that we have all this infrastructure and advertising, and the sport is so intertwined with betting now, and the players can't bet on other sports that they don't play in. They don't have any more information than anybody else. You can't even bet on pro sports if you're any employee of the NCAA. I know people who are employed in the NCAA as like field assistants and like people that work on game day experience kind of things, and they are not allowed to bet on pro sports,
it's ridiculous.
Which is
the NCAA wants to take,
which is completely insane.
Yeah.
Because some guy handing out hot dog contests at the basketball game can't put money on the Dallas Stars. What kind of nonsense are we on? Like,
that's the hypocrisy that gets to me. It's not the alleged Brendan Sorsby stuff. It's that kind of stuff. So
that's where the NCAA is just like goes. That's what I mean. They're ticky tack nonsense.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
You're not the government.
Like, no, not at all. So, all right, well, good. I don't have any big news updates. I mean, you're probably seeing the same thing I did. You're seeing 4 or 5 stars, 3 stars. Everybody signed a lot. We're starting to get into all kinds, especially all the 27s are starting to sign. A lot of them, people are building their classes. I don't have any. It's still too early to like start really ranking the classes per se.
Yeah, because the total numbers are too different.
They're still too skewed. I think you'll see towards the end of June. I think we'll have a better feel towards the end of that month, probably, especially all the camps of where these 27 classes rank.
Yeah,
I will say I think Florida is doing a pretty good job at this point. It seems like he has done a much better job and doing what they're hoping that Summerall was going to do. So
yeah, I mean a lot of teams are doing really well right now.
There's definitely
so,
there's money being spent. Let's put it that way. There's definitely money being spent.
I know let's do a quick look at the rankings, right?
And the biggest one.
Yeah, so you got
biggest pickup was Elijah Haven last week. The 5-star quarterback. Then I think is he number one on the board quarterbacks?
I think so. Yeah.
I
So
think
here,
he
if you
is.
look right here at the recruiting rankings, you got Texas A&M at the top. Texas Tech is spending big. They're trying to push this year for a true top 10 class, which would be crazy.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, USC, Ohio State, Florida, Oregon, LSU. Usual suspects. UCLA making good, but again, low numbers.
UCLA is the one that's picked up in the last couple of days. They've picked up some recruits. I think Chesney's getting some traction out there.
Yeah. But again, it's still early to really rank it comparatively.
It is.
An interesting, you go down too far down here, you get to like 5 recruits. You don't really know. But the big ones to watch are Texas Tech trying to push for their first top 10 class ever. And Florida is rising fast. Yeah. Along with the regular usual suspects.
Yeah. And the quarterback Haven choosing Alabama over Georgia. That was the kid's a superstar talent.
Yeah. That guy, he's awesome.
I think he had whittled his list down over time, and Alabama really got a superstar there.
DeBoer has no problem getting quarterbacks.
No. He's gonna be a name to watch. All right.
Okay, it's time to go. We are talking the greatest team of all time, and today, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I am going to make the argument to you that the greatest team of all time is the 2019 LSU Tigers. Ed, you have the opening statement.
Well, I'm going to make the arguments today that the 2001 Miami Hurricanes were the best now of all time, and again, we're going to say best in the modern era because it is sort of difficult to compare to some of these teams in the 40s and 50s. But
if you're before desegregation, it doesn't count.
Yeah, I think so.
And by the way, I can't think a couple of honorable mentions we could throw out there. Could throw out 70s Oklahoma or 90s Nebraska maybe in there somewhere, but in the 2-3 range. But the top 2 is only LSU Miami, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. I think these two are clearly, and they both have interesting cases. So I'm going to let in deference, I will let 2019 LSU present their case. The Dallas Cowboys of the college football world had one great season, just like the Cowboys do every 30 years. So go ahead. I want you to present your case.
Yeah, but man, when the Cowboys are going, they're going, aren't they? All right. So first off, 2019 LSU, historic season. I don't even need to list the players because they're such household names at this point, but the roster consisted of Joe Burrow, who had the greatest single season of any college quarterback in history, in my opinion. He threw for 5,600 passing yards, 60 passing TDs. That's an NCAA record. 202 passer rating on the season, not for one game. 202 passer rating for the season. That is an all-time record. Responsible for 65 passing touchdowns. Averaged 368. No, he averaged over 300 yards passing per game, I believe. And he threw in the national title game, to cap it off, he threw for 463 yards and 5 touchdowns in the national title game. There's no argument about Joe Burrow. The quarterback's the most important position. LSU, 2019 LSU, had the best college football quarterback in a single season ever. I'm sorry to, what was the Miami guy's name at the time?
That was Ken Dorsey's team.
Ken Dorsey. I'm sorry to Ken Dorsey, but you're no Joe Burrow. Second, Day was the greatest offense of all time. Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson each went for over 1,500 passing yards in a single season together. Each of them had 1,500 passing yards. They are both wide receiver ones, probably on their way to be borderline Hall of Famers in the NFL, if their careers continue to progress. Running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 1,400 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns. They won every award, by the way. We can just go down the list. They won every award. Biletnikoff, the Heisman by the largest margin in college football history. They won the Joe Moore Award as the nation's best offensive line. I think the only award they didn't win was the best tight end. And they had a fantastic tight end, that college football tight end that season. Thaddeus Moss, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And he was great the whole year.
He was a cute tight end.
Yeah. And they scored 40 plus points in 12 of their 15 games. They scored 60 points in the college football playoff semifinal, blowing out what was a pretty decent Oklahoma team. And they had Joe Brady, who ran the passing game. They had the weirdest coaching setup you'll ever see in your life, like double offensive coordinators, passing game. Ed Orgeron was basically there for vibes and recruiting. And man, he got the players in the door. But the real reason that 2019 LSU is the greatest team of all time, not just the record-setting offense, not just the, two Hall of Fame quarterback and Hall of Fame receivers, not just their best offensive line in the country. It is the fact that they have the most impressive stretch of quality wins in the history of college football. Let me go down the list and the rankings of who they beat, okay? Their average margin of victory over top 5 opponents was 20 points. 20 points average margin of victory of top 5 opponents. The ranked teams that they beat that were important, these are top 10 ranked teams. Number 9, Texas, 45-38. Number 7, Florida, 42-28. Number 9, Auburn, 23-20. That's the closest anyone ever came to beating them. Number 3, Alabama, 46-41 in Tuscaloosa, Saban, Alabama. This was a great Alabama team, and I think that Alabama team was the second best team they played all year. Number 4, Georgia. Number 4, Oklahoma. And number 3, Clemson, who they beat by 37-10, 63-28, and 42-25. They got better as the season went on. Towards the end of the season, when they played the SEC championship and the playoff, when they really locked in and actually tried 100%, they won by 20 points against top 5 teams. There's no comparison to the amount of dominance that this LSU team had on offense. And it's not like they didn't have good players on defense. They had, Grant Delpit, first-round pick. Derek Stingley, first-round pick. They had 14 players drafted in the next year's NFL draft, 5 first-rounders, and 19 of the starters on that team ended up being drafted in the NFL. And I know I'm not going to be able to beat Miami on the stats, the draft stats, because I know it's crazy number. It's 38 or something, right? But here's the thing that you have to consider. Only 22 players get to play on the field, okay? So your team is only as good as the 22 on the field. You can have all the Hall of Famers you want on the bench, and they don't do anything, okay? They don't do nothing. 19 of the 22 were drafted. That's the important number. The 2019 LSU team is the greatest team ever assembled based on resume, based on performance, and based off talent. That is my presentation.
Well,
I rest my case.
Well, that was an impressive argument, But let me tell you, you can't handle the truth that I'm about to lay on you right now. So let's talk about why Miami would clearly beat the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, would beat the 2019 LSU Tigers. First of all, let's talk about the defensive dominance of the Miami Hurricanes. They had one of the greatest defensive years in college football history. They gave up 9.7 points per game. They led the nation in scoring defense, passing defense, turnover margin. Okay. They held 8 opponents to 7 or fewer points, and they scored 8 defensive touchdowns. LSU's defense was cute. It was respectable, but they allowed 21.9 points a game.
It doesn't matter if you're scoring 50.
Wait. Yeah. They were 32nd, actually. Miami's front 7, Ed Reed, Vince Wilfork, Jerome McDougal, Philip Buchanan, they would have completely disrupted this LSU team. First of all, Joe Burrow wouldn't have had time to pass. The secondary would have eaten up those receivers. So the defensive dominance, if these teams had matched up, the defensive dominance of Miami was unprecedented, like we've never seen in college football. Now, let's get to that talent depth. You talked about the number of players that LSU had. That Hurricane team had 38 NFL draft picks. They had a whole starting roster on their bench that came in, not just the starters. They had 17 first rounders. Let me read you some of these guys. And we're talking about Andre Johnson, Pro Bowler. He will be a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's made it yet. All Pro. Sean Taylor, who would have been a Hall of Famer had his career not cut short. Kellen Winslow, great tight end. Brian McKinney, Pro Bowler. Antron Rowell, Pro Bowler. Jonathan Vilma, Super Bowl winner. Jeremy Shockey, Pro Bowler. Jerome McDougal, Philip Buchanan, DJ Williams, Vince Wilfork, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl winner. McGahee. They had 3 running backs. Most teams don't only have 1 running back. They have 3 first. What were the running backs? Clinton Portis, Frank Gore, and Willis McGahee. That's 3 NFL running backs on that team. Crazy. And, by the way, Ed Reed, one of the greatest safeties to ever play. We can just go on. Mike Rump in the secondary. Roscoe Parrish, a wide receiver. I can go on and
Roscoe Parrish. Who the heck is that?
You may not remember those names because you were barely alive. 38 people. And by the way,
Jack Johnson on wide receiver.
Mock Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey was incredibly efficient. He was 3rd in the Heisman voting. I'm not comparing him to Joe Burrow. Nobody's ever going to be Joe Burrow. But Ken Dorsey was a great quarterback for that team. And by the way, Ken Dorsey played 6 seasons in the NFL, just by the way. Okay. So, all right. The third point, they outscored their opponents. You want to talk about LSU was probably Miami outscored the opponents 512 to 117. That's a margin of 33 points a game. Including a margin over rank. Hold on. You had your piece. Okay, over ranked teams, they had they had a record 124-7 margin over consecutive ranked teams. Their games were never close. Now LSU scored more points, 48.4 points per game at ranked teams, but they had a smaller margin, 26.5 over the 15-game season. Miami had better balance and more lopsided dominance in the games over ranked teams. All right, now you ready to get your mind blown? This is the stat that kills me. Even if Miami's offense which was legendary between tight end, they had 2 Pro Bowler tight ends for the NFL. Even if the Miami's offense had not even scored a single touchdown all season long, Miami would have been 8-4. Okay, 8-4 without even a single offensive touchdown. Their defensive unit. LSU relied heavily on their offense, but their defense wasn't built to carry games. Miami's defense carried games, and then you brought along Hall of Famers and Pro Bowlers on the offensive side. Miami was ranked 5th nationally at 42 points a game, and they had balance. Ken Dorsey, Clinton Portis, Andre Johnson, Jeremy Shockey, and then you had the backups. Willis McGahee was a backup. LSU was the best statistically. I'm going to give you that. Best statistically of all time. Burrow's statistics will never be touched. Chase and Jefferson are on their way to Hall of Fame careers. Those 3 alone, I'm not arguing with that. But you're not getting Andre Johnson's a Hall of Famer. Those running backs. Frank Gore, how many yards did he have in the NFL? 15,000? Unbelievable number. But the Hurricanes were a complete team all across the board, offensively and defensively. The size, speed, athleticism across the lines. They played 4-3 schemes. They played cover 2 schemes. They just weren't a simple. LSU was a simple modern spread. Miami played a lot of different looks because they had
a lot of RPO and pro style stuff there too. They weren't
not
just
in
a
Miami.
spread off.
Miami was able to play a lot of different things because they had many different players across the ball. I think Miami's legacy is simple, and the reason they win this game is that they had talent throughout the entire roster. LSU's was more concentrated at a couple of key positions. I think LSU played a tougher schedule and had more top 10 wins. But Miami's defensive chokehold, how good they were, would have slowed LSU down, and I don't think LSU defense would have slowed Miami down. I think Miami wins this game if they played. Now, that's my argument. But
let me make a counter argument.
Okay.
My rebuttal to your argument is this. Let's look at Miami's schedule.
Okay.
At Penn State, unranked. Rutgers, unranked. Pitt, unranked. Troy State, unranked. At number 13, Florida State. West Virginia, unranked. Temple, unranked. At Boston College, unranked. Number 15, Syracuse. Number 11, Washington. Number 14, Virginia Tech. Number 4, Nebraska.
Okay.
Maybe one top 5 team, and it was number 4, Nebraska. And that was a good win, and I'll give them that. 2019 LSU, how many top 10 teams did they beat?
We're going to go quality win argument. Is that really what you're going to give me?
Yes, we're going to go quality win. Their
You have
resume
bought
as the
the drank
greatest
the
team,
SEC Kool-Aid.
their
Oh my God.
resume as the greatest team ever includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 top 10 wins.
Only because
Miami has
SEC
one top 10 win.
That's
One.
all because they're not in the SEC and they don't get quality wins because nobody gives them quality
What would
wins.
that LSU team do against West Virginia, Boston College, Syracuse, and Troy State? They would obliterate them.
I'm telling you what, Miami did obliterate those teams. Miami on the ranked teams also obliterated those teams.
Yeah.
Now, so here's what I did. I asked
One by
AI,
by two at Blacksburg.
I asked AI to simulate games.
We're bringing A. You want to talk about cheap tricks? Come at me about strength of schedule, and you asked AI? Man, what have we come to in this world? Is there nothing sacred? Is there nothing sacred in this world?
Hey, we got to get an answer. AI, neutral field, no home advantage, and another hypothetical win. That's right, Reed. Quality win.
You're using a hypothetical argument.
You threw out Thaddeus Moss as a great player. None of your arguments count. I'm sorry. All right. That's okay. Let's just use modern technology. AI did a standard simulation, and it came back with close games, but Miami won 62 out of 100. LSU won 30 times, and there were 8 ties. Basically, the expected score was Miami winning close games constantly because of the way their defensive scheme worked. Their elite defense suppressed LSU's record-setting offense, basically. And then I ran it 1,000 times, and it was a little bit closer, but Miami won it 58% of the time. So I think we got our answer by using modern technology.
Yeah, modern technology.
Listen, you bringing out quality wins, drinking that SEC Kool-Aid.
Quality wins is at least an argument from a real human. Okay,
Listen,
how many times has AI gone out there and thrown a pigskin? Huh?
Hey, 38 NFL draft picks to 17. That's crushing them.
Yeah, and the best player at the most important position.
It doesn't matter. So you're saying it's all about the quarterback. How about the running backs, wide receivers, offensive line, defensive ends?
LSU's offensive line was fantastic.
They were nowhere near Miami.
They were absolutely fantastic.
No way. Oh my gosh. We know
SEC
SEC
line in the country that
SEC
year.
Jake is on the watch here, fellas. Listen, it's all about the U, baby. They were the best. We know this. Now, Jake, tell us how you really feel. Come on, be honest.
Okay, so here's the thing. I have to come clean because we had to make this argument because this is a good topic of discussion and a good thing to talk about. And we wanted to talk about it and get the argument out there. However, and this is not my fault. I actually do believe that 2019 LSU, 2001 Miami is the superior team. But I didn't get to pick which side I had to argue on this. You, right there, made me choose the 2019 LSU Tigers and represent them in this court case. But as any good lawyer does, I represented my clients with dignity and honor, despite whether I think that they are guilty.
You didn't run an AI simulation to prove your case.
I did not run an AI simulation, okay? We are not getting Palantir on this case, all right? The day AI simulations replace sports talk shows that's the day sports goes to die, all right?
Listen, you can look at these stats. When I looked at these stats, I was fascinated because thought it would be closer. And honestly, the more I looked at it, the more I became convinced that Miami was just better. Burrow, Chase, they put up some incredible stats, but you cannot overlook the dominance of Miami and the players. to have that many players and be that dominant. I agree. They did not play the same caliber of teams, but that's not their fault. What they did on the field and the dominance they had was unbelievable.
Can we at least say that if, let's say, they played their schedules in the same year, that Miami would be power ranked higher, but LSU would be higher in the AP poll?
Well, Miami power rank, yes, because they're an SEC team. They're going to get bias.
No, not just that. Just like in a poll ranking, they would be higher.
I don't know. I think. Listen, if you flip the schedules, Miami would have done more damage to that SEC schedule than LSU.
I don't know, man. I think that Alabama,
because I don't think those SEC teams would not have scored as many points against that Miami. That Miami defense was legit scary, and I think that's the difference in those teams. I mean, you can't put Ed Reed. I mean, you're talking about players who are, I mean, the Sean Taylors and the Ed Reeds and the Jonathan Vilmas. Those are legit, serious NFL defensive players. LSU didn't have those. I mean, yeah, they had Dell, but they had a couple, but they did not have those kind of players. I mean, you had Vince Wilfork, Ed Reed, Philip Buchanan, Antron Ruel. I mean, I could go down the list. These are superstar NFL players.
Yeah.
That's the difference to me.
And look, I do agree with you.
I mean, Mike Rump played, in the cornerback for the 49ers for a decade. I mean, you just go down. The offense was clearly favors the Bengals, but I think Miami finds ways to score against LSU.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, anyway. Maybe. All right. Well, that's our fun.
Anyway.
I think we haven't, I didn't even tell you this. I think we got a good topic for our next huddle.
Okay. What?
Where's your QB? Let's figure out where your favorite QB was last year and where he is this year.
No, who's that Pokemon?
Yes. Where's your QB? And we're going to see if you can
Where in the world is Carmen Sandy? I mean, your QB.
Where's Waldo? I think we're going to have some fun with that one.
Okay.
Tell me where Deuce Knight is.
Deuce Knight. Ole Miss?
Yes, he's back on Trinidad Channels, but you had to pause.
I did have to pause.
Oh, the silly season.
Where is Rocco Beck?
Oh, he's at Penn State.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Where's Bo Pribula? And you only know this because
Reed will tell us. Where's Bo Pribula?
Yeah.
Come on, Bo. Come on, Reed.
No, he's probably delayed. He's delayed.
Is he delayed?
Yeah.
Okay, he's delayed. All right.
No,
we'll give him a second. He was thinking Deuce Knight. That's probably his answer for Deuce, which is wrong. No, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's still.
Well, we'll go down the list and we'll cook up plenty of quarterbacks next time.
Where's your QB?
Yeah. So,
and then we'll talk. There will be a point here where we'll. There we go.
Yeah.
He's caught on now.
Yeah.
Then there'll be a point where we'll take a little break before we ramp up for the beginning of the season. So we got some.
And we'll start doing conference previews and picks and predictions and schedules. And we'll start breaking down the teams that we got coming up for next year. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, but we need to do a little downtime for vacations and things like that.
Yeah, we have to. We have lives to live,
Yeah.
And we put a lot of effort into these shows.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Viewers.
We're in May now, and so we're just a month and a half, 2 months from media days, so we're getting there. So
yeah.
All right.
Hey, thank you guys so much for watching live. Thank you for being in the chat, and make sure to like and subscribe and follow on all the socials. And we will be back in 2 weeks with our topic that we just talked about. So good night, America.